Hello and welcome. This is Africa in 10 minutes, where we bring to you trending business news from around the continent this week. Courtesy Footprint to Africa. I am Mike Mesikeno, and it's great to have you on the show. Let's take a look at the highlights for this week. UBA Kenya launches Facebook banking. Tech firm Tula gets 63 million shillings for expansion. 10 million Nigerians to get free Wi-Fi facilities as Google station opens. NNPC calls for renewable energy revolution to end fossil fuel. Uganda becomes first African country to de-risk small, medium-scale renewables. Nigeria's vice president says this century belongs to Africa. And now the news in detail. UBA Kenya, part of a Lagos-based banking multinational UBA Group, has unveiled an interactive chat banker that enables customers to make use of their social media accounts to carry out transactions. Christened Leo, the virtual chat banker will ride on an artificial intelligence to help Facebook users open UBA bank accounts, request for mini statements, top up airtime, transfer money, as well as log and track complaints. Now, speaking at the launch in Nairobi last Wednesday, UBA East and Southern Africa Executive Director Emeka Iweriobo said the bank wants to bring banking services to apps where consumers spend most of the time. We have realized that consumers spend 80% of their time in 3 apps: Facebook, WhatsApp, and YouTube. So we have decided to follow them where they are, he said. Agricultural platform Tula has secured a seed investment of $627,000, which is about 63 million shillings, from institutional investors AHL Venture Partners, Elios Social Venture Fund, Beyond Capital, and Rafiki Ventures. Tula said it will use this first equity injection to fund its continued expansion in Kenya and for further development of its technology platform. Through the Tula platform, some 10,000 farmers use their phones to order inputs, apply for loans, and connect to markets through brokers trained by the company. The platform, which won the 2017 Facebook Africa Innovation Challenge, operates in Narok, Nakuru, and Machakos, but plans to expand to Meru, Makueni, and Embu by December. To apply for loans, farmers dial a short code on their phones. Tula then contacts them through a call center or field officers. Farmers then register and provide basic information, which includes their identity as well as farm size and what they grow. The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation in Abuja on Wednesday said the world needs a clean energy revolution in order to break its inordinate dependence on fossil energy fuels. Group Managing Director NNPC Maikanti Baru, who was Distinguished Lecturer at the 12th Mechanical Engineers Distinguished Lecture, an event organized by the Nigerian Institution of Mechanical Engineers, a division of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, also stressed the need to grow the renewable energy market in Nigeria in an effort to move towards cleaner sources of power. He stated that revolution will enhance global energy security, promote enduring economic growth, and tackle environmental challenges and break long-standing link between economic growth and carbon dioxide emission levels. Baru said Nigeria, on its part, is endowed with tremendous prospects of growth in renewable technologies on account of readily available hydroelectric potentials, longer hours of sunshine in the northern part of the country, and impressive wind speeds in the coastal and mountainous regions, and land mass for the cultivation of energy crops like cassava, sugarcane, etc. Uganda becomes the first African country to sign an agreement with the Regional Liquidity Support Facility, a joint initiative of the African Trade Insurance Agency, the Pan-African and Multilateral Guarantor, and KfW, with funding from German Ministry of Economic Cooperation and Development. Under the program, RLSF will offer protection to new small and mid-sized renewable energy projects in sub-Saharan Africa. The World Bank estimates that the continent needs to generate annual capacity of 7,000 megawatts, but such a ramp-up in generation capacity cannot be achieved without private sector participation. The RLSF, as a pragmatic option, could therefore become a more widely used solution to solve Africa's energy deficit challenge. The RLSF has an initial capacity equivalent to $74 million and will protect independent power producers against the risk of delayed payments by public off-takers. This type of guarantee is a common requirement from the banks that fund the projects. Many projects have failed in the past to access funding because this guarantee was not available. This century, Africa will play a defining role in global development, says Nigerian Vice President Professor Yemi Oshimajo at a Google for Nigeria event in Lagos last Thursday, where the tech giant announced it will launch a network of free Wi-Fi hotspots in 200 locations and 5 cities across Nigeria by the end of 2019. This century is Africa's century. Why? Because Africa will, for good or ill, play the defining role in global development. Africa's fortunes will matter across all trends shaping the world, said Oshimajo. I say for good or for ill because either scenario is possible. If Africa fails on these important development issues because of our sheer size, the global impact will be catastrophic, and if it succeeds, the global impact will be incredible. Technology has put great power into our hands as individuals, but more importantly, as co-creators and collaborators to positively and dramatically change the course of human existence. With it, we can solve many of the problems that confront us, said the Nigerian Vice President. The decision by the Central Bank of Nigeria's Monetary Policy Committee to maintain status quo for the 10th consecutive session triggered renewed profit-taking at the Nigerian Stock Exchange last week, causing investors' wealth to dip by 93 billion naira. The committee retained the monetary policy rate at 14%, a symmetric corridor around the MPR at plus 200 minus 500 basis points, cash reserves ratio at 22.5%, and liquidity ratio at 30%. Specifically, the ASI shared 256.72 absolute points or 0.70% to close at 36,455.24 points. Also, the market capitalization declined by 93 billion naira to close at 13.206 trillion naira. The decline was occasioned by losses recorded in medium and large capitalized stocks, amongst which were Better Glass, Peresco, Lafarge Africa, Nigerian Breweries, and PZ Cousins Nigeria. Analysts at APT Securities and Funds Limited said, with the return of the index to the red zone, we advise investors to tread with caution with respect to equities market's continuous wave between the North and South Poles. On that note, we draw the curtains on this week's episode of Africa in 10 Minutes. Let's take a recap of the stories. UBA Kenya launches Facebook banking. Tech firm Tula gets 63 million shillings for expansion. 10 million Nigerians to get free Wi-Fi facilities as Google station opens. NNPC calls for renewable energy revolution to end fossil fuel. Uganda becomes first African country to de-risk small, medium-scale renewables. Nigeria's Vice President says this century belongs to Africa. You can send in questions, make comments, and keep up with the news on our various social media channels. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our page on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and connect with us on LinkedIn. Visit www.footprint2africa, where these stories were called from. Footprint to Africa, business news made in Africa by Africans.